So I wanted to talk to you guys about how the civilization unit that did for our assignment, how well that went. So first off, as far as it meeting the objectives, yes, it did. The objectives were, first off, it's for a sixth grade social studies class, which is in my target group, and all the standards for sixth grade social studies covers ancient civilizations, as well as this particular one covers standard 1, which is that choices have consequences, and standard 4, which talks about society, continuity, and change. So especially when it came to the game, which is like the game of life civilization edition. I have the link to it in my reference pages of my assignment 4. It's a slideshow. It goes through, there's a plague, or there's if certain resources earn you a certain number of points, and you can trade, or you can go to war, and different things like that, which the kids loved. Well, they loved that they got to go to war with their friends, but they loved the unpredictability of the game and how their choices affected their growth of their civilization. So that covered both of those standards pretty well. It also would be used as like the very first thing to do at the beginning of the year that's setting them up for the rest of the year. So here we talk about the basics of a civilization, what makes a civilization a civilization. And by that we look at like National Geographic has a good one. There's a few other links that I put. They get to look through those, try and find commonalities in a very overbroad view of civilizations, and we discuss. So instead of lecture, it's more discussion based. And together, collaboratively, we come up with a list of what we think are the basic components that make a civilization. They will then use that to make a notes page, like a fill in the blank, or a concept web, or however they want it to look. That will become their notes that they use for the rest of the year. They'll print out, 6 of them if there's 6 units, and all they do is change. Okay, Roman Empire, here's their geography, here's their language, here's their art, here's their, all those boxes will be checked and what meets it. That way it also starts the basics of note-taking, which we know as they get older is going to be a big deal. So these let them take responsibility for their learning, which we know adds motivation, and the discussion helps lead to some deeper understanding because we can bring in different perspectives to the table. And as far as the real world application, as we're discussing, I'm hoping they're seeing the connections between these ancient civilizations and our current one, where we are now. How does America meet these? What's our geography? What's our language? What's our government, our currency, our architecture, things like that. Then after the game and the notes and everything, the big component also is the final, we'll call it an essay, or a reflection paper. So in here they get to tell me what they learned. Use some vocabulary correctly. What did they learn about civilizations in general? What about the game would they change? If they had to make their civilization again, what resources would they choose differently? What things hurt them the most? What things helped the most? And just in general, if they liked it, if they got much from it. This would serve as a self-assessment for them and also as a gauge for myself to see how successful the unit was. Now, in practice, I did not get to actually assign this paper because I'm not in a classroom my own. I did get to teach it to a group where we talked about it, the components, and we played the game, which they loved. So as far as what I would change differently, obviously I would be able to tell from their final reflection paper. That would tell me a lot. I would also want to look into some different, I know there's some different digital games like Age of Empire, Settlers of Catan, Risk, things like that, that maybe we could throw in the mix there too, so that they could learn how they grow and rise and that kind of thing. So, but yeah, otherwise I think on the whole it was a success, and I definitely want to just tweak a few things and make it a real thing.